Welcome to Master the Book. My name is John Guydon, and this is what I learned from The One Thing, the surprisingly simple truth behind extraordinary results. Success is not simultaneous, it's sequential. That means one thing at a time. But it matters what that one thing is. It has to be the most important thing, always. Once you learn to make this a priority and quickly identify it, you'll start to see a domino effect in your life. Let's continue with the analogy. A domino can topple another domino 50% larger than itself. So the easiest way to topple something big is to figure out the right domino to topple first.
Boom.
The one thing is a simple path to success, but it won't be easy. To get there, we'll have to address a few things, like the 6 lies about success that keep you from it. Lie number 1, everything matters equally. No matter what's on your task list, there is no way that everything on there matters the same. The 80-20 principle says that the minority of your efforts leads to the majority of your results. The one thing says that the 80-20 principle isn't going far enough. Keep going until you get to the most important work, period. The author of this book wanted to learn how to play the guitar, but only had 20 minutes a day to learn. Now, if they thought that everything mattered equally, they wouldn't stand a chance. There's just too much to learn. But he knew better. He focused on his one thing. In this case, it was the minor blues scale. That gave him the ability to play rock solos from guitarists like Billy Gibbons and Eric Clapton. The one thing opened up the world of rock and roll for him. 20 minutes a day. Everything matters equally is a lie. And so is multitasking. I know. You not only think multitasking is real, but you think you're good at it. You've developed this superhuman strength over the years to get more done than the average person because of your ability to multitask, right? Wrong. Multitasking is an illusion, just like juggling. Now, most people would describe this as somebody juggling 3 balls at once, but what's actually happening is they're throwing and catching the balls in rapid succession. Catch, toss, catch, toss, catch, toss. It's called task switching. Now, 2 things happen in your brain when you switch tasks. The first is that you decide to switch. This happens rather instantaneously. The second thing is you have to adopt the new rules of what you're doing. Basically, you have to reorient your brain to the new task. This is where you waste your time. Researchers say we lose an average of 28% of the workday because of multitasking. Okay, the sun's getting a bit bright. Let's switch scenes here. Oh, that's much better. Okay, where was I? That's right, multitasking. 28%, that's crazy. Now, not only is it a huge waste of time, but it's also dangerous. Would you feel comfortable in the backseat of this car? Are you okay with your pilot multitasking? How about your surgeon? Here's a question. Why would we ever tolerate multitasking when we're doing our most important work? Especially now that we know it's a lie. Speaking of lies, most people believe that to be successful, you have to live a disciplined life. It's not true. You can become successful with a lot less discipline than you think. The trick is to develop powerful habits and use just enough discipline for the habit to take form. Research shows that it takes on average 66 days for a habit to form. So stick with it, and once you develop that habit, you can either build on it or build another one. Before you know it, people are going to be coming up to you saying, Wow,
you are so disciplined. How do you do that? No. I'm not disciplined. I build strong and powerful habits over time. Oh, okay. Cool.
Lie number 4, willpower is always on will call. Most people buy into the phrase,
Where there's a will, there's a way.
We go about the day thinking it's always there, waiting for us to just tap into it whenever we want, like,
This looks challenging.
That looks challenging.
Better tap into some willpower.
if it worked like that, we'd all be, it'd be like, look, it doesn't work like that. Think of your willpower like a cell phone battery. You start off with a full charge, then you drain the battery every time you perform an act of will, like filtering distractions, resisting temptations, and taking tests. And when your willpower is on empty, you revert back to your default settings. When it's late at night and you have a craving, do you reach for The bag of carrots or the bag of chips? How about a judge? Researchers analyzed over 1,100 parole board hearings assigned to 8 judges over a 10-month period. The judges only got 2 breaks. In the mornings and after their breaks, parolees' chances of being released were at 65%, and at the end of the day, those odds dropped to nearly 0%. They reverted back to their default settings, which in this case was to deny parole. The good news is our willpower can be replenished with a little downtime and food. Yeah, food has a huge impact on your level of willpower. Our brains only make up 2% of our body mass index, but consume 20% of the calories we need for energy. Lie number 5 is the idea of living a balanced life, and it's sabotaging your success. It's not really a question of balance, it's a question of priority. You see, when you act on your priority, you automatically go out of balance, giving more attention to one thing than the other. You have to go out of balance. All right, imagine life is a game where you're juggling 5 balls called work, family, health, friends, and integrity. Work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it'll bounce back. The other 4 balls are made of glass. If you drop one of these, it's gonna get scuffed, nicked, or in some cases, shattered. So don't waste any time chasing a balanced life. When you're supposed to be working, work. When you're supposed to be playing, play. The only way you can drop the ball is when you get your priority mixed up. Now for lie number 6. Big is bad. Thinking big is essential to extraordinary results. When you think small, the actions you take will eventually lead to small outcomes. But when you think big, the actions you take will eventually lead you to big outcomes. Okay, now that we got those 6 lies out of the way, it's time for the surprisingly simple truth behind extraordinary results. And the answer is a question. Because the quality of any answer is directly determined by the quality of the question. So here's a question. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? It's called the focusing question. It's so deceivingly simple, people often underestimate its power. It collapses all possible questions into one. Let's break it down. This part of the question forces you towards something specific. You can't hedge your bets. It's one thing, not 2, not 3, but 1. The words can do means choose an action that's possible. It's not okay to replace can with should, could, or would. Those words don't set you up for success. This is the bridge between just doing something and doing something for a specific reason. This one thing should provide leverage for everything else, just like that first domino. Focusing question is one of the most important habits you can possibly develop. Create notifications, put signs on your desk, ask friends and family members and coworkers to help you by asking you that question as well. Work hard to implement it into your daily life and use it in every aspect of your life as well. No matter what the results are that you want, it starts with purpose. It's your big one thing. Use it like a compass to help direct you to the right decisions. Purpose is great, but without priority, it's powerless. Priority is becoming more and more challenging. Most people tend to favor rewards that they can get now versus future rewards, even if the future reward is way, way bigger. It's called hyperbolic discounting. The farther away a reward is in the future, the smaller the immediate motivation is to achieve it. To prevent hyperbolic discounting from sabotaging your success, implement a way of thinking called goal setting to the now. It works kind of like those Russian matryoshka dolls. Let's go through it. We start with the biggest. What's the one thing I want to do someday? Based on my someday goal, what's the one thing I can do in the next 5 years? Based on my 5-year goal, what's the one thing I can do this year? Based on my 1-year goal, what's the one thing I can do this month? Based on my 1-month goal, what's the one thing I can do this week? Based on my weekly goal, what's the one thing I can do today? Based on today's goal, what's the one thing I can do right now? The questions in each step along the way help you methodically get down to your one thing. It turns something big into something small. I hope you stuck through that because it's a really, really powerful tool. Purpose sets your priority. Your priority impacts your productivity based on the actions you take. Simple, right? But like I said before, not easy. Just like the 6 lies about success that keep you from it, you need to be aware of the 4 thieves of productivity. Number 1 is the inability to say no. Not sure who said this quote, but I got it from the book. Someone said,
One yes must be defended over time by 1,000 no's.
You can't please everyone, so don't try. Say yes to your one thing and say no to everything else. Number 2 is fear of chaos. It's a package deal. When you strive for greatness, you're focusing on that one thing. Messes and chaos is inevitable. It's going to stack up behind you, all around you, and you have to either be able to just allow it to happen or get creative in the way you work with it. And I know everybody's got a story, everybody's got a situation, but I'll tell you, if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. Don't let this thief steal your productivity. Do you know somebody who works so hard they don't get enough sleep? They don't eat right, they wait hours between meals, they barely see their family, they never exercise? Tell them this. It's not only dangerous, but it's zapping you of the very energy that you want to be productive. It's actually pretty darn important. Be respectful of your energy. Here's what you should be doing every single day. Meditate for spiritual energy. Eat right, exercise, and sleep sufficiently for physical energy. Hug, kiss, and laugh with loved ones for emotional energy. Set goals, plan, and calendar for mental energy. And time block your one thing for business energy. You spend the first part of your hours energizing yourself like this, you can glide through the rest of the day pretty effortlessly. Try it out. Now, the 4th and one of the most overlooked productivity thieves out there is your environment. Your environment must support your goals. This includes your physical surroundings and, yes, the people you surround yourself with. If they don't support your goals, something has to change if you want to see success. All right, so now you know about the one thing. That's the first step. But if you want to implement it, you're going to have to protect it by blocking it off on your calendar. 3 things that always need to make it onto your calendar are, of course, the one thing, planning, and vacations. Protect those things and watch how much more productive you become. Now, if you're serious about the one thing, you need to block at least 4 hours every day to your most important work. Yes, 4 hours, and that's minimum. Sound crazy to you? How about this? Most people spend the majority of their day focusing on things that don't matter, leaving a small, stressful sliver of time for the things that do. Like I said, 4 hours minimum. Now, this time blocking thing is not as easy as it sounds, so try these 3 commitments to give yourself a fighting chance. Follow the path of mastery. People who excel at things aren't just prodigies. Well, some people are.
By the time I was 7, middle and high school materials were boring for me, so I begged my parents again if I could take college classes.
But for the majority, it's a matter of the 10,000-hour rule. Researchers show a connection between exceptional results and the amount of focus someone puts within a 10-hour period. This is where the 10,000 hours come from. If your one thing is related to work, assuming a 250-day work year, that's 4 hours per day. Number 2, moving from E to P. This is the difference between doing something the best you can do it versus doing something the best it can be done. The E is an entrepreneurial mindset. The P is a personal mindset. Now, we all start off in E, right, naturally. And what happens is we reach something called the personal ceiling of achievement. The way you break through oftentimes is you have to adopt things that may not seem natural to you. You have to get out of your comfort zone a bit. You push through, that's how you have a breakthrough. You're breaking through your personal ceiling of achievement. Commitment number 3, the accountability cycle. Former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, said, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." Who knew he was so wise?
That's all it took. One shot, he may not get up.
Life happens. We all know this. But when it does, do you choose to play the role of the victim, or do you live the cycle of accountability? Seek reality instead of avoiding it. When life happens, acknowledge it. Own it instead of playing the blame game. Work to find a solution, and once you find one, get on with it. Just get started. Taking complete ownership of your outcomes by holding no one but yourself responsible is one of the most powerful things you can do for your success. It takes some work to get used to doing this, but once you do, you're going to see an immediate difference in the outcomes in every aspect of your life. Now, before this video ends, I just have one question for you. What's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Ask the question, get the answer, block it off on your calendar, and say no to everything else. I hope this was helpful for you. I'm John Guydon, and this is Master the Book.